In recent days, Governor Newsom and our Department of Water Resources has launched a process to build an updated state water plan. Director Nemeth, Carla, help us understand what this effort is all about.
Absolutely. So California has always put out a water plan, or at least for the past several decades, every 5 years. And what's unique about the one for 2028 is last legislative session, we passed Senate Bill 72, which did a couple of really important things for the water plan that haven't been done before in California. And one is to actually start setting targets for where we want to be in terms of developing water supplies, which I think we all now have this very intuitive and experienced sense that that's becoming really important, because we've got these beautiful warm days in times when we used to have rain and we used to be building our water supply. So we need these targets to help us really deal with the way that climate is affecting water availability.
It's exciting because you and I and so many others have already been working to diversify our water supplies, even as we protect the health of our watersheds and our fish and wildlife. But this really puts numeric targets into this work.
That's right. So how it's structured is there's sort of three big things we're doing. We're doing data around water use and supply, and then we're developing these targets for long-term water supplies, and then we're developing the actions that's going to be required to hit those targets. So we have an interim target, and that's one that people may be familiar with. This is the 9 million acre feet that our state climatologists believe is likely to be no longer available to us simply because of rising temperatures. So we have that as an interim target by 2040. But the real work here is going to be digging into the various hydrologic regions, understanding the targets that are appropriate for those regions, and having something that is more detailed and grounded with, of course, a lot of our California expertise, local and statewide, having contributed to those numbers.
Wow. California on the front lines as a Mediterranean climate, like many other parts around the world. So what types of projects are we talking about trying to deliver under this water plan in coming decades?
So we've really started to transition to a watershed scale sense of water availability. And of course, we now regulate groundwater in California. So that has been an enormously important function for us, because it starts to connect the surface water, connects our whole hydrologic cycle, our surface water with groundwater. So projects like using water twice, recycled water, using it more efficiently on our drought-tolerant landscapes or in our commercial processes and in our indoor residential uses, innovative technologies like desalination. Where do all these pieces really fit? So we know we have a lot of work to do, and we know that depending on where you are in California, the things that make sense for your community, it's going to look a little bit different. Say if you're down in Southern California, or if you're up in Modoc County, for example. So we're going to start identifying those kinds of projects.
It's exciting progress. We already have done so much with water agencies and other groups across the state, really building our water resilience moving forward. And now this water plan that you and your team will help the state build is going to hold us accountable in coming years to actually really meet the moment and what climate change is doing.
Yeah, and one of the things that maybe this director is most excited about is it's going to identify the ways in which we get in the way of our own good intentions, right? Similar to like cutting green tape, where we know what we need to do, and we know we need to have an affordable water supply that's going to enable us to really withstand these growing frequency of extreme weather. So it's going to also help us say, like, well, maybe we should help our processes or invest more in emerging technologies, or you name it. So we're going to learn a lot from this process, and we're going to learn a lot with voices from across the state. And so we're just delighted to have this new legislation, and we really think that's going to propel us forward in California.
And as you kick off this process, we've already gotten so much incoming from people that say, hey, I want to provide input, participate. Will the plan be coming to our neck of the woods? So how would you say that people can learn more and ultimately participate in this process?
Sure. So we do have a public advisory committee, and that is going to start to meet maybe late April. So you should make sure, first of all, maybe check out the CaliforniaWaterPlan.com website. So all of this will be on there, but we will have a public advisory committee that is open to the public. It has specific members, but it's open to the public. But it also, our our structure this time is to really dig deep into kind of caucus work, if you will, so we can leverage really specific expertise on more detailed topics, because of course we've got some targets to set, right? So the public involvement process is giving us an opportunity to hear from a broad group of people statewide, but also some real local experts to understand what's the art of the possible here.
Well, super exciting with a whole lot of promise moving forward. Big thanks to you and your team for all the work.
Thank you, Secretary.